Hello and welcome back inside the ACU TV or studio for this week's Optimist Newscast. I'm Sydney Varner alongside Connor Mullins. Men's fraternity Galaxy has been suspended for 1 year after an investigation into a hazing incident that took place during a paintball rush in September. The investigation concluded there was a violation of hazing law and the fraternity has been given requirements to complete before being back allowed on campus after the duration of their suspension. During homecoming weekend, photo and video surfaced on the anonymous chat app Yik Yak depicting a slain goat. Though no specific details have officially been released about the situation, in an email to students, Tamerlong referenced a second, more recent event that may be related to the images and videos of the physical altercation that were shared widely among students. Hannah Valvano, president of the Agricultural and Environmental Science Club, said many students were outraged by the images and video and said actions depicted were clearly inhumane.
Yeah, it's just totally inhumane and goes against everything we learn about and are taught. And that's why we want to fix it and bring awareness to the situation and be like, this is wrong and unethical in so many ways. Mm-hmm. The Bible very clearly states, and it's very clear, that if you mistreat an animal, you don't respect life, because God is life and God gives creatures life. And so that's a big, it's a big thing to take on, and it's a big thing to try and understand, but it's one of the big premises in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament.
Valvano said the club is looking for opportunities to teach the ACU community about how to be good stewards of God's creations. Intramural football playoffs started on Monday, with many teams advancing to championship games. The Kogies will play either Hierarchy or BSU for the Women's Division Championship game at 9 p.m. on Thursday. The Bullock Babes will take on Spider-Man for the Women's Rec Championship at 7 p.m. on Thursday. The winners of Tuesday's matchup of Not Galaxy and Noble Kings will take on Good Ship for the Men's Division Championship game on Thursday at 10 p.m. And lastly, the Men's Rec Championship will take place at 8 p.m. Thursday and will include the winners of Tuesday's semifinals matchup. All games will be taking place at the intramural fields. New crosswalk signs have been installed along 16th Street and Campus Court. After getting approval from the City of Abilene, the university has installed the new crosswalk signs in front of Barrett and Bullock Halls. One of the features of the new signs are flashing lights, which activate when students press a button on the sign. ACU Police Chief Jason Ellis hopes that they provide more safety for students crossing the busy streets around campus.
The reason we put them at Barrett is the high traffic with two living areas there with the dorms, and so we knew there's gonna be a lot of traffic, and it's a busy street anyway, and the traffic with all the kids coming across the street, the new parking at the church across there. It's a high traffic area, so we're hoping that would get people used to slowing down in that area where we're gonna have tons of kids going back and forth along that road.
Although the new signs may add some safety, Ellis emphasized students should continue to look both ways before crossing the busy streets. Up next, Wildcat basketball released preseason stats leading up to its season start on November 9th. Connor Mullins has more. Connor?
Thanks, Sydney. Men's and women's basketball will return on November 9th when the men first take on Utah and the women take on Southwest. The men are coming off a historic season last year, during which they made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament after defeating the University of Texas 53-52. The women are coming off a 14-13 season and have brought in 8 new players in the offseason to help reset in a new conference. The Western Athletic Conference basketball coaches and media polls came out last week, and the men are predicted to finish 5th by the coaches and 4th by the media. Senior Damian Daniels made the all-conference second team in the coaches poll, while seniors Corian Mason and Reggie Miller made the all-conference second team in the media poll. Daniels averaged 6 points per game, Mason averaged over 10 points per game, and Miller averaged over 6 points per game last season. Mason, Daniels, and Miller led the Wildcats to the best turnover margin and turnovers forced against opponents in the country last season. The women are predicted to finish 5th by the coaches and 8th by the media. Senior Maddie Miller made the all-conference second team in the coaches and media polls. She averaged over 8 points and 4 rebounds per game last season. Volleyball played in the WAC pod involving California Baptist, Dixie State, and Tarleton this past weekend. ACU lost both games. They played with the first being against Dixie State and the second being against California Baptist. Both losses were 2-3, and the Wildcats now have a 7-11 record. The next game will be against Tarleton at 1 p.m. Saturday on ESPN Plus in Abilene. Soccer had an eventful weekend, facing off against Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin at home. The Wildcats came out on top in both games, with 2 final games remaining in the regular season. Optimist sports reporter Kaylee Kahn has more.
The Wildcats hosted Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin for their last home series of the season. Compared to the 2 losses AC received last time playing these teams, the Wildcats stepped up and secured 2 wins. Despite the competitive record between these teams, the players knew that they were not going to be easy wins. Head coach Casey Wilson says that he was very satisfied with the competitive performance of the team that night.
Well, like I said, we came into this weekend with a plan of trying to be more composed and more cold-blooded when it came down to finishing balls in the box. And I thought that we did a good job of that on Friday night.
ACU met Sam Houston Friday night, eager to bring home another win at home. Although it went scoreless in the first half, both teams scored in the second half, bringing it to a tie at the end. Yet Ellen Joss secured the winning goal in overtime, leading the Wildcats to a victory 2-1. The Wildcats took on Stephen F. Austin Sunday afternoon. With Stephen F. Austin being undefeated, the Wildcats knew they had to step up their game in order to secure a win. Natalie Jones and Kaylin Wright did secure the goals for ACU, bringing them to a win of 3-1. Natalie Jones expresses how she thinks the team played very well.
Well, going into the game, we knew that they're undefeated and we wanted to ruin that for them. And we just had a lot of energy throughout the whole game, which really was fun to play this game and get those goals in.
ACU hits the road to play the University of Texas at Rio Grande Valley Thursday and Lamar Saturday for the last series before the conference tournament. For The Optimist, this is Kaylee Kahn reporting.
That's all for this week's Optimist Newscast. I'm Connor Mullins.
And I'm Cindy Varner. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.